Hello, everyone, and welcome to another special episode of Irish Wrestle Talk. And I'm pleased to be joined by a talented, decorated journalist who's very active in the wrestling world. She's also a content creator who hosts a live show for Wrestle Republic every Sunday called Sunday Night Spotlight. And she's an editorial writer for bodyslam.net. And her impressive credits include RevoltTV, Blavity, and The Source, among others. And legend has it, if you say her name, she appears. So welcome to the wonderful Megan Ambers. Megan, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. That intro like touched me right here in the ticker. I thought that was really good. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here, and I'm just so thankful that you um, invited me to your platform. When you asked me, I had no doubt that I wanted to talk to you. You've been always so nice and sweet towards me, so I'm just
Well,
happy
thank
to
you.
be here.
Well, it's great to have you here anyway, like I say, and your credits and everything from looking at what you do online yourself, and it's really, really good.
Thank you.
So I suppose just to begin things, what, as an avid fan of wrestling, how did you first get into wrestling, or what attracted you to it initially?
Um, just being a kid, I had to be about 9, 10. Um, my mom watched it as a kid, and I think just coming across it, flipping through channels, and just there's always still this excitement when it
Yeah,
comes down to watching wrestling. And as a kid, you don't like it doesn't the thoughts of potential injuries and things like that doesn't come to mind. It's just seeing wrestlers climb up these large ladders and jumping off of them and stuff like that, and it just drew my attention.
yeah,
And just watching people like the Hardys and Lita and Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys,
wow,
just they were like larger than life type characters, and then of course you had like Triple H, who looked like he bench pressed like 400 pounds, like he was just like really huge. Um,
yeah,
so just, I don't know, it was just like seeing people that you wouldn't see on a
yeah.
day to day walking down the street. Um, and it was just hard not to be drawn to it.
Yeah, so kind of similar to me, I guess. Then and that's how I started out seeing the guys. I probably a different generation would have been Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man and Bret Hart, who'd be one of my
Right,
all-time favorites. But yeah, just like you say, things you don't see on the street every day, for
right.
sure. Um, so look, that's great. And as we know, you're a talented journalist and quite experienced,
Yeah.
with an impressive body of work and so on behind you. So I take it you didn't begin as a wrestling journalist. So what took you into the world of journalism to start with?
Um, well, to be truthfully honest, when I when I was coming into my young adulthood, high school, my what I thought I wanted to do for the rest of my life was fashion design. And within those 4 years, it changed. Like I started getting into a lot of fictional writing,
Okay.
and my English teacher, she just kept telling me over and over again, like, you really have a talent in this. Like, have you ever considered writing? And I told her No, like I just do it to pass time, but it's not something that um I thought I wanted to do.
Yeah.
It was just fun. Um, but it wasn't until several years later, 2016, um, I came across a post on Instagram that from Hollywood Unlocked. So they was like in the very beginning stages. They weren't what they are now.
Okay.
Um, Looking for interns, and I thought, well, I don't have no experience. I've never written for any publications before at the time. So um, let me just give it a try. And so they asked for sample writings. And so I came up with something that was based on what was going on at the time.
Wow.
And that ended up being my first real job with a publication. And it just kind of went from there. The source,
That's amazing.
Bashy.com. I mean, like, I couldn't believe, like, right after that, I started working for the source. Like, this was a magazine I used to get as a kid,
Yeah.
and here I am. Within a couple of months of working there, I actually had my first printed, well, my first and only printed article, and it was on Rihanna. And
Wow.
I felt like, I made it. Like, I feel like I'm getting there, and then from there, just
That's
trying to find
that's
my
fantastic. Yeah. No,
yeah. But
that is great.
it was it was a lot of ups and downs. It was a lot of
Yeah.
ups and downs, and
Well, like
after, huh?
I think there's maybe a lot of people out there that look at journalism as a glamorous type of career, as perhaps they focus on the glitz and the shows, the
Yeah,
award ceremonies, and so on. But you can probably tell me it's totally different to that.
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there's a lot of moments where you get to go to different events. You get uh, PR packages, which is always fun, getting free things. But they never tell you that um, sometimes the hours of in a day is long. They never tell you that sometimes the stories that you're covering is going to be hard,
Yeah.
on you mentally. They don't tell you those things. They don't tell you that um, you might come across some people in the business that's a little backbiting, and
Yeah.
it puts you in really bad positions. They don't tell you those things. So yeah, going to the awards shows, which I've never been,
In
but
time.
just I hope,
Yeah.
I
No,
hope,
you'll get there.
but just sometimes, to be truthfully honest, sometimes the bad do outweigh the good,
Okay.
and it has put me in positions where I've had to really ask myself, is this something that you want to do? Is this something that you can deal with? Um, you know,
And would
it's
you attribute that maybe, Megan, to being a female in a traditionally male dominated industry?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think there have been a lot of stories that I would have liked to cover that
Okay.
um, was probably passed on to those that they initially said that had more seniority than I
Okay.
did, but most of the time, those with the most seniority were men. Um,
Yeah.
but I really just chalked it up as it just being a part of the game, you know, covering entertainment news that, well, mostly hip hop
Yeah.
stories. That was a recurrent thing. Even
Okay.
now, transferring from entertainment to wrestling, it's a sports thing. It's
That's it. Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah. No, that's what I was gonna ask about. The transition from the news and entertainment into writing and producing content about wrestling. How
Yeah.
when did you make that decision?
Um, I want to say it had to been late last year,
Okay.
early this year. Just getting back into wrestling after I had stopped watching it for quite a few years,
Yeah.
and just having an opinion about everything, some of the storylines and stuff. And I just thought, it's easy to put out little tweets and stuff, but I feel like people are misconstruing my thoughts. So maybe if I wrote it in a more cohesive sense, like in an article, people will understand where I'm coming from. And so a friend of mine, she she stepped away from Wrestling Republic, but
Okay.
she said, "Hey, they looking for writers. Why don't you send me your resume?" I sent it to them, and it kind of started from there, but it took some time
Mm-hmm.
before I could really get my footing back into writing because at that time I had took a whole year off from
Right.
writing in total. Um, so that was in December, but I didn't write my first article for Wrestling Republic until February.
Wow. Okay.
And I feel like I mean, that article is definitely my first um, wrestling related article. That's my baby. That's my baby article. It was about Cody and
Yeah.
him winning WrestleMania, and I just felt like, yeah, we can't have him lose 2 years in a row. He has to win this one, and I broke down why it would mean so much if he did, and from
Yeah.
there, um, I just saw that Body Slam was also looking for writers as well. And I said, okay, maybe I can split my time up between the two and just really, you know, just do it. And I just like the
That's
freedom
fantastic.
of not having to push out 3, 4, 5 articles a day
Yeah.
because that is what led to my burnout. 5 days a week, 5 articles a day, and it was a lot. So,
Yeah.
um, thanks to these two publications, that allows me to write when I feel that creative flow um, emerging.
Fantastic.
It helps me.
Yeah, because they're two very well respected, you know,
Yeah,
places on online for all wrestling content and wrestling
yeah,
news as we know it's quite fast paced with so much going on these days.
yeah,
There's so many promotions, so many shows and stars, endless hours of production per week. And
yeah.
that's what I was going to ask you, like how you keep up with it all, because it's just a constant stream. You see it on TikTok, Instagram. It's just everywhere. It's insane.
It is. Um, hmm, if I'm gonna be honest, I kind of miss out on some things. Like most of the time, I'm not seeing things in real time. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll come across it in the company's chat, and it's like, what, really? How did I miss that? It's just I try to keep up with as much as I can. But I'm also a mom,
There
and
you go.
um,
That's the
he's
most important job.
yeah, yeah, and I think he's gotten used to me being more there physically
Hmm.
because my job used to really consist of me not being around. And for this past year, um, he can't get rid of me. So, maybe it's not so much for just him, but it's for me too.
Yeah.
Um, just because he's a teenager now, he's 13.
Okay.
And when I first started this whole journey, he was 5 going on 6. So, the years just went by way too fast. And before I
Yeah.
know it, he'll be, Mom, I want to drive. And it's like, what? Or,
Definitely.
Mom, there's a girl I like. Like there's different things I have to be there for because I won't get those times back.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, to an extent, I can't really share wrestling with him because he's not really into it,
Wow. Okay.
um, unless it's the girls. So I
Yeah.
know he's getting to that point where he'll like tune in for the girl matches. Got a little thing for Charlotte now. That's his favorite girl.
Wow.
Or Mercedes. That's his other favorite girl. So
Good taste.
yeah. But yes, he's not. I'm hoping that maybe he will eventually start taking a
Yeah.
liking to it, but it's not something I'm trying to force him
Well,
into.
that's it. I have a 6-year-old son and a 15-year-old daughter, but like
Mhm.
she has absolutely no interest in wrestling. Now my son,
No.
he's going to come along with me to a local event later this month,
Yes.
and
Oh my God, he's gonna have so much fun.
yeah, I think so. But because I would have been a little bit older than him when I got into wrestling first as well. So like yourself,
Right.
I don't want to force it on anybody. And my wife
Right.
has little interest. Now she is coming around a little bit, um,
Okay.
and she likes Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. She likes what they're
Yes.
doing, and she's even up for going to an event with me sometime in the near future because she sees the atmosphere and the energy in the crowds and everything, So
Yeah.
she's she's curious about that, So
Okay. Well, she has good taste too because Bianca and Jade is taking over the women's
superstars,
division right now. Yeah.
superstars, and Naomi. I do think it's important as well. For many different reasons. But
Yeah.
Jade Cargill has her. Uh, she has she gets a lot of criticism. I think for her in-ring performances,
Yeah.
which is a little bit harsh. Like she looks amazing, and I think
Absolutely.
that will come in the future. She will get better, and
Yes. That
yeah,
is something that um comes up a lot.
yeah,
And right now, um, there's only 2 active women on Wrestling Republic's um, like roster, so to speak, right now. And I'm the only one that do podcasting.
okay,
So I feel it's important to use that platform to speak on the things that we see. And it's just like you said, Jade does get a lot of unnecessary criticism,
yeah,
like she's not improving. I I've came across her. She was when I first came across Jade. I think she was uh 35-0. I think at the time. So I watched from that moment on when she was with AEW,
Yes.
and she had a lot of squash matches. I felt like she wasn't um, it wasn't nurturing what
Yeah.
she was lacking. They liked the fact that she was strong and she looks like money, and
Yeah.
and she's good on the microphone and stuff, but they weren't trying to add to that. I
Yeah.
felt like they was just comfortable with the way she was. And
Creative can really make or break a
yeah,
wrestler, I feel, and many have kind of gone down that route in the past. Like even,
absolutely.
um, and it she is similar in a way to, I suppose, the Ultimate Warrior back in the day of having the look, but just not, maybe the in ring is a little bit lacking at the minute. Now the
Hmm.
only difference there is the Ultimate Warrior didn't care. He was in it for different reasons, but I think Jade does actually care, and
Yeah,
it is unwarranted. A lot of the criticism she's getting, I think it's a little. But look, wrestling fans, they can be, they can be a harsh bunch as well. A lot of
yeah,
them are really good people, but yeah, you can be really taken apart online at times for various things.
yeah, absolutely. And excuse me, it's not a knock at AEW. There's plenty of women in AEW that looks good.
Mm,
Chris Statlander looks good. Mercedes looks good. Willow
yeah,
Nightingale, she looks good. Um, I just I felt like she needed guidance,
mm,
and it seemed like the best person for her was Natalia, and I think also Roxanne and a couple of other people
yeah,
um, that understood her weaknesses, understood her strengths, build on the weaknesses, and enhance on her strengths. And now I'm sure a lot of her beginning matches was just nerves,
of course,
just, being in bigger arenas,
yeah.
seeing like, wow, this is what a full house looks like. Just, you know, and seeing people.
It's like me here, Megan. Nerves, only she's on a much bigger stage.
Yeah, I mean, I think it hits a lot of people. I got to
Yeah.
meet her 2 months ago. No, yeah, almost three
Wow.
months ago. Um, Nerves, just nerves. Just seeing them like right in
Yeah.
front of you is like you're real. You're real. Like you're a real person, and
Exactly.
it it can hit you in some pretty interesting ways. So no, I'll never get over the initial nervousness of meeting people and talking to people. Even this interview,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm warming up now,
Good.
so
Good stuff. And we're still, yeah, still looking forward to, like, I do believe there'll be a Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, feud at some stage as well in the future. And
oh,
that's something to
yeah.
look forward to.
Yeah, I think I don't know how they're going to go story wise, but I do think um, losing those titles is definitely going to be the catalyst
Yeah,
of their feud.
for sure. And just in terms of your articles then, or what you've published, have you received any backlash for any article, or have you been lucky enough to avoid that?
Um, yeah, yeah. I've it's a weird thing. My first article, again, on Cody, for Wrestling Republic, I specifically remember addressing. Roman as the final boss.
Okay.
That was back in February.
Yeah.
And shortly after, The Rock comes back, head of the table, head of the board table, the final boss. I thought, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But it could have been simply just a coincidence. Now, um, there was an article I did write about Swerve,
I
and
think I might have heard of that one. Yeah.
yeah, and I just, you know, when I wrote it, when I wrote the article, it came from the mindset of this is our first black AEW champion. I don't feel like he's being booked fairly. We
Hmm.
got to do better by him. Not to say treat him with kid gloves, but he has to be treated a little differently. Um, this is what he should be presented as. He
Yeah.
should not be in matches before the main event. He is the champion. He is supposed to be the main event. Um, and if a match is being booked to have more highlights than the match where the title is on the line, then that's a problem,
Yeah.
you know? Um, and I stand by what I said. Um,
I
somehow he
think
got
when you put it out there, you should stand behind it anyway.
absolutely. I mean, I felt strongly about it. I looked at other first black champions, R Truth, Bobby Lashley, um, across different promotions, NWA, TNA, The Rock with
Hmm.
WWF at the time, his father as
Yeah.
a tag team champion. So there's history behind becoming the first black dot dot dot.
Hmm.
And I just wanted Swerve to be put in a position along with them
Yeah.
because these people have created a path for you. And now you are a part of these historians, these history makers. And now you will be opening a path for others to come.
Yeah.
And however, it was interpreted by him. I guess he was offended by it. And so I found out I was blocked by him shortly after. And,
Wow.
I just thought, dang, like you can't even stick up for people now. Like they take it the wrong way. And, I hold no qualms to him. I still feel like he was a good champion. Now we have Brian who
Yeah.
has been he's a legend in his own right. So this is not to take away anything that Swerve has done or will do.
Yeah.
Um, I just felt like
I think he's
he
taking
has,
some time off now anyway.
yeah,
After what happened at All Out there over the weekend, that was insane.
yeah, that was a that was a match. That
Wow.
was a that was a match.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no hard feelings. I feel like at some time in the future, I we will cross paths, and you know,
You will.
um, whether he's open to the conversation or not, is
Well,
up to him.
I think you're really making a name for yourself. Like you're obviously you're becoming famous in a way when you have people, backlash such as that, and people just reacting in that way. Um,
Yeah,
and more than likely, you will get a chance to sort things out with them in the future
yeah,
when you're attending all these events.
I have no issues with you, Swerve. I just wanted you to understand that this was in your defense.
Yeah.
It wasn't it wasn't about you as a champion personally. It was the booking. I felt like you were above the booking, you know.
Okay.
So yes, if he comes across and see this, Swerve, I'm sorry.
I'd
Don't
only
be
love
mad with me.
if he was seeing this.
I hope I'm gonna share it. Me and Prince Nana, we we we're here, so maybe I'll
Fantastic.
tag him in it and he can pass the message along.
Wow, that'd be great. And do you find yourself gravitating towards AEW or WWE? You know, more so. Like, which would be your favorite of the two?
Um, there's always going to be nostalgia with WWE.
Yeah.
Always, I grew up watching it, and I'm sorry, that's my son.
That's fine.
Okay. Um, I I like AEW. I like a lot of the wrestlers there. There's a lot. I can't hate a product that have some WWE wrestlers there. It would just make me a hypocrite. Um,
Yeah. I
there's
think they've improved. I think the last couple of pay-per-views have really been
absolutely,
impressive. You know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I to answer your question is definitely WWE, but I do enjoy AEW. And I understand that there's people out there that wants you to choose, like you have to choose between the two.
It's a lot of
Um,
tribalism. Yeah.
very, very. But it's like they both bring something that the other don't. So I can't dislike one over the other. It's just I'm just more drawn to WWE because that was my childhood. Like
Yeah.
it's something about WWE that just feels good. But as you pointed out, AEW has improved to such a point where they are literally WWE's competition. And
Oh,
it's been a very
100%.
long time since WWE has had a competition that is equal playing fields. And that's what
Yeah.
AEW brings. And
But
yeah,
of course, now we have WWE moving to Netflix in January.
yes.
This is going to really shake things up. Uh, do you
Mhm.
feel it's something to be excited about? Because I think they're going to go all out with this. We're probably going to
Oh
move
yeah.
away from the PG type stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something. I do wonder if Raw is going to stay as a 2 hour program when it goes to NXT, or if this is just temporary until
Mm.
they make that crossover. Um, haven't had a. I
Yeah.
think the only time we've had Raw for 2 hours is um, on Hulu. Like
Okay.
Hulu would miss that 1 hour
Yeah.
of Raw, but yeah, I expect it to be a lot more racy, um, a
Yeah.
lot of provocative subjects, and we could kind of see that they was leaning up to that with the Liv and Rhea story.
Hmm.
Um,
I think they have to
you
be
could,
careful though in the current climate.
yeah, yeah,
Based on what they used to do when Vinnie Mac was in charge, like some of the storylines from
Mhm.
years gone by, they will have to be careful in a way, but it does give them a license though, going to Netflix, that they can kind of
Yeah,
tear up the rule book a little bit.
absolutely.
So it is
Absolutely.
interesting it will be interesting to see where it goes. And of course we've also got the Vince McMahon documentary coming out later this month on Netflix as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that should be a fantastic watch.
I think mm,
Yeah. And
we
it,
talked about that briefly
mm-hmm,
on Sunday Night Spotlight.
okay.
As I mentioned then, um, there's going to be a lot of topics that are going to be spoken on that might trigger a lot of people. So, you know, if you feel that you are sensitive to those type of topics, like Chris Benoit's situation, the allegations against Vince, um, and whatever else comes
Yeah.
out that we might not have known about, um, skip it. Just skip
Yeah.
it. It is not worth, opening up wounds that you are still having difficulties um, working
No,
through, you know.
definitely.
Um,
Um, and look,
but
Vince is a very divisive character. I mean, there's always
yeah,
going to be the kind of loyal supporters that will always stand there, and he's the godfather of wrestling. They look at him like that, and he did a lot.
yeah,
He did a lot of good, but um, yeah, look, that's
yeah,
a conversation for another day. You could spend hours talking about the types of things he got up to, but
yeah,
it will be a must watch for a lot of people though.
absolutely, absolutely. I don't know how um, the outcome is going to be for Vince after this comes out. I don't know
Hmm.
how people will feel. I don't know if this is even going to blow back on WWE. Hopefully, um, it doesn't, you know.
Yeah.
But only time can tell.
Yeah, I don't
Only time
think
can
they'd
tell.
risk something that would blow back on them with the fact that they're moving there in January, though. So,
Right.
but then we're hearing stories that there was a lot of people didn't have any say in how this was put together. But surely Netflix would when it's getting put on their platform. But look, we'll know in a couple of weeks anyway.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if they're dropping every episode at the same time, but we'll see.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering too. I'm not all too sure.
Drip feed it to us.
Oh, yeah. That's gonna be something. That is
Yeah.
going to be something.
Anyway, on a lighter note, I've
Yes,
heard that you're quite the fan of a particular wrestler by the name of
I
Joe
am.
Hendry.
I am. Like, I don't know if you could see it, but let me see. This way, this way, this way, this way.
Ah,
There. Yeah, there he
you
is. Right
believe.
in the back. Yes, I do. I do. I'm so sad that he didn't win the NXT title, but I'm certain that he will get his opportunity once
Oh,
again.
he has a big future ahead. Um,
Yes.
he has such a cult following, And a fun fact for you as well, just in case you don't know, he's appearing at the New York Comic Con on the 17th and 18th of October.
Really? I did not know that.
There you go.
Thank you for telling me.
You're welcome.
Okay. I will. I mean, I knew he was going to be a part of. Oh my God, I can never remember that wrestling promotion. Um, Hog, HOG.
Hog. Okay.
Something of Glory. They have a show. The end of this month. he is going to be at that show as well. Um,
Okay.
so I had no idea. I guess he loves himself some New York, so that
He's a
should be pretty
bit of a
cool.
gun for hire, I think. Yeah, he goes, he does a lot of different things.
Yeah.
He's been in Ireland some years back as well. He's done quite a bit, but he's full of
Okay.
humor and creativity, and yeah, he just has a cult following over in these parts.
Yeah.
He's good musician as well, so
Yeah.
very talented guy. So that there's your chance now to catch up and meet with him.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, I missed Comic Con last year. Um, hopefully, hopefully I can attend this year. I've heard so many good things about Comic Con, and I have never been.
Yeah,
Um, so if I do make it this year, this will be my
brilliant.
first one.
Wonderful stuff. And, I know from our back and forth on social media,
Yes.
you're, you really love the energy and the atmosphere in Europe. Some of the PLEs that
Yeah.
we've seen in France and Germany, the crowds. Uh, so that's definitely something you need to come over and
Yes.
experience.
I mean, I missed out on great opportunities coming to France and to Germany, and um,
Yeah,
I
we had
mean
Clash
the
at the
the
Castle
fans.
in Glasgow as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I mean they WWE is really bringing world back to world wrestling entertainment, which is so great because just to think that it's been almost 30 years since WWE was in Germany, you know,
yeah,
and I had a conversation with my younger sister she'll only be 23.
wow,
um I told her, I said, a lot of those people in that crowd wasn't even born the last time they was
no,
out there. So not only is this a first time for them, but it might be for a lot of the others that's in the audience as well. And
yeah,
as I said to you before, they make us look bad. I think we've been spoiled by them because we could see them multiple times a year.
yeah.
And whereas there is some countries that is getting them after a couple of decades. And I'm just I'm just glad that they are bringing that out
Yeah,
to those that most naturally can only watch it on TV or unless they come here.
that's it.
Um, so, but
Yeah.
yeah, now we got to step our game up. We have to. We have to.
It's nearly like a competition between the crowds in Europe now.
Yes.
Who's going to be the loudest? And they're coming here to Ireland at the start of November, so it's around the time of the crown
Yes.
jewel when they're in the Middle East over in
Okay.
yeah. So that should be an interesting one as well. But the venue in Ireland will be a lot smaller than some of the other venues that they've been in. But yeah, the crowd here, even here for the local wrestling promotions
Hmm.
we have some really good ones. And actually, one of them, OTT, have their 10th year anniversary at the end of
Okay.
October, and JD and Finn Balor are going to be appearing and wrestling
Oh,
at
that's
it
sweet.
while champions, WWE champions, which is unbelievable.
Yes.
So that's definitely one to look forward to, and the crowd will be crazy for that. Like
Oh
it's
yeah. Yeah. I love that they're going to be a part of that.
yeah.
Um
Well, they started
I'm
out there as well back, when they were younger and before they went on to the bigger things in WWE. So there is a
yeah.
good relationship, and a lot
And
of the wrestlers that we're watching a lot of wrestlers now in the
Right.
Irish promotions that we will see going over to the US as well, because they're just
Yeah,
so talented.
that's what I was going to say. I think a lot of them um, will be probably scouted out while
Yeah.
they're out there. One thing I've learned about WWE is that they have eyes everywhere, everywhere. Like, even when you don't think they're paying you any attention, they are. They
Yeah.
are. Like, they are watching all the time.
They have
So,
contacts everywhere. Just make a phone
yes,
call then or something, and it's
yeah.
uh,
So, I'm looking forward to seeing who comes over here, pop up on NXT or something. I think that would be really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of future stars I'm watching here every month.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting to see what might happen. So, in terms of you, Megan, then what does the future hold for you? And have you any goals or things that you want to achieve over the next few years?
Ooh. Well, yeah. I mean, I think I'm ready to kind of like venture out and do my own podcast. Of course, still continuing with Wrestling Republic, but um I have some ideas that I feel like I have to try.
Okay.
And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but I feel like I owe it to myself to at least try.
Yeah.
And and just see where that goes. Um, so I'm hoping um, between now and possibly Survivor Series, I will have something up and
Well,
bring you on the show um, and just
fantastic.
talk wrestling.
Yeah.
Talk wrestling, talk about what's going on outside of wrestling. Um, just, but to bring a different um, energy
Yeah.
behind it. Like, I don't want it to be um, gossipy in a sense. So I don't want it to feel like a dirt sheet type of
I
podcast.
I get you. Yeah.
But I do want people to feel comfortable enough to come on the show and just voice their opinions on what they feel is right overall, without feeling like there's going to be a backlash behind it.
I like
And
the sound of that. Yeah. That sounds good.
yeah, and then
Um,
also talk about the hot guys in
mhm.
wrestling, you know, and just talk about how hot they are. I mean,
Okay.
I think I know there is a stereotype behind that, like, oh, women just watch wrestling because of the guys, and I'm literally the first one that says, yeah, that's one thing that keeps me there. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not the main reason, but it's one of the things that keeps me watching. You
Yeah,
know,
but I
so
think I think it's in a different way to how the ladies were depicted years ago. Though I think the
yes,
way that was very trashy and
yeah,
just in a manner that did was quite disrespectful. And at least now it's fantastic to see the women, the way they're being seen for the talent that they have, and they're being let do their
absolutely,
own thing. So what you're saying about you looking at the guys and how hot they are, but at least like there's none of that real sleazy type stuff going on.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, yes, I do remember, the different matches and the storylines, especially with Trish, and
yeah,
even further back to um, Kat and Terry Reynolds and
Yeah.
um, just those women that had no choice. Like that was just a part of the game. And it seemed so, I wouldn't say it seemed so normal, but it just seemed okay. Like
Hmm.
people were okay with it. Like I felt like wrestling wasn't really for women. It
Yeah.
was for men.
Yeah.
And for these matches that these women were in, it wasn't for us. It was for men.
Yeah.
Um, but you still had those that you found attracted at the time, like the Edge, the Christian, the Jeff Hardy, the Matt Hardy, like those younger wrestlers that appealed to girls of my age that's coming of age. And
Hmm.
we thinking everybody is hot, like that was who we
Yeah.
had. And now you have Roman, you
Yeah.
have the Usos, you have those guys. Or if you go to AEW, you have, I'm trying to think. I don't know. I'm not sure who they would. I guess Daniel Garcia, um, Swerve, but you have like guys like that now. And it just reminded me of this quote that Paul Heyman said just recently, like a week ago.
Yes, I
Um,
saw that.
yeah, where the question was, do you think WWE have ever appealed to the female fans? And he's like, well, look at Roman Reigns. Like, that is the appeal to the female audience. And it's like, it is true. It is
Yeah.
true. I see it on my timeline in in real time. You see Roman on TV, and the women just go insane over him. And
I've never seen a turnaround in a career like Roman Reigns. When the WWE were trying to force him down everybody's throats, make a star out of him
yeah,
when he wasn't quite ready. And he was being booed, he was being jeered. And now look at like every move he makes, everything he says, every turn he takes. Like everybody is just crazy about him. Like it's
yeah,
insane.
yeah. I mean, even when he was the baddest guy in WWE, everybody still rooted for him. And now that he is a face, um, which, I'm wondering how that's going to play out, because now you have two of the biggest faces on the same brand.
Yeah.
So how is that going to work between Roman and Cody? Somebody is going to. I don't. I don't know if how they are going to be able to level these two men where
Well,
one is not taking the back seat for the other. I don't know
yeah. I
if
think a
that's
lot of
going to
people
be
are
possible.
a lot of people seem to be getting tired of Cody already,
And I
getting a bit
hate that.
bored. Yeah,
I
exactly.
hate that. I
But
hate that so much. We wanted him to win the title.
yeah,
I think,
I just think the stories, since he won the title, um, they had AJ Styles as the first defense for him, and
mhm,
AJ is just a really good wrestler, and all the past champions over the last couple of few years before Roman even, they had AJ kind of as the first defense, because he's
right.
just he's just really good in the ring. And then we have Kevin Owens there, and Solo is just not strong enough. There's not enough interest there. So Yeah, I don't know. They just seem to be kind of stuck at the minute with Cody. It's like they're
Yeah.
waiting until John Cena is back, or The Rock, or maybe Orton is going to turn on him. Something like that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, as much as I wanted Cody to win the title at this WrestleMania, I feel like there was a plan for how they was going to write The Rock in.
Mm,
And when things turned left and the fans seemingly turned on WWE
yeah.
and said, "This is who we want to win this title," you made him win the Royal Rumble. It makes no sense that he gives up his opportunity. I think that screwed up the whole. It was a domino effect
Yeah. I think so.
because there was a plan that they had to where Cody, I guess, will ultimately get his chance again at WrestleMania 41.
Hmm.
And it seemed it seems as though Cody got the title prematurely, and with that happening, they had to kind of scramble to figure out what to do with Roman now that
Hmm.
Cody has the title. And so they didn't have a plan on who was going to, challenge Cody for the title. That's um that's why I felt like they didn't really give a story
Yeah.
behind him and AJ. And
Yeah.
I did write about that. And I was glad that they kind of picked up the story again between them two because, like you said, it was rushed. You had WrestleMania, and then within 2 weeks, we had 2 or 3 weeks, we had Backlash. So
Yeah.
they had to find someone for him to defend the title against. So
Well,
it
AJ
was,
is dependable. That's the
yeah,
thing with him. Um, they knew it would be a good show with the two guys facing off against each other,
yeah.
and it
I,
was like, I
I,
mean, as a wrestling match to watch, it's fantastic.
it was a good match. It was a
Yeah.
very good match. Like I explained to people, I'm a writer, so the storylines mean so much to me.
Hmm.
And if I can't follow the story outside of the ring, I just can't really get with the feud. Like the Drew and CM Punk, it kind of started off a little weird, you know, only
Yeah.
because CM Punk got injured, and then all of a sudden Drew was saying, "I prayed for this. We hate you. Get out of our company." And it just felt so out of left field.
Hmm.
But in the last couple of months, they have built that story so eloquently.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes time to build a feud, even
Yeah.
with Liv and Rhea. It takes time, and
It's the long game they're playing, and it's fantastic. I think now with
it
some of the
is.
storylines.
And I feel like Cody needs that. And I hate that as much as we thought winning the title that was going to severed his connection with the bloodline, but we're talking almost about 5 months later, and he's still dealing with them.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you give in all of your energy and all your time and attention to the bloodline, and now your champion, your undisputed champion, still have to have some sort of connection to the bloodline in order for him to have some sort of relevancy, I guess. And
Yeah.
I hate that for Cody. I really, really do. I do. Maybe if he was on Raw, um, because there's so many people on Raw he could have feuds with.
Yeah, well, that's
Drew,
it.
CM
Yeah.
Punk. You know, it's kind of limited on SmackDown. So, um,
Well, look,
but again,
we'll have things coming up. John Cena returning.
yes,
There's a few things on the horizon, so you never know what'll happen.
yeah, I'm trusting the process. You know, they're the experts, so I'm trusting the process.
Yeah, I think Triple H is doing pretty well so far.
Absolutely, absolutely. I give him a lot of praise.
Yeah,
I give him a lot of praise.
brilliant stuff. So as a bit of fun, uh, can you give the Macho Man? Everybody's tried an impression at some stage of the Macho Man. Can you do one for me?
Oh, Macho Man.
And
Oh,
you're not allowed to do the oh yeah.
uh, gosh. All I can think of is um, snap it to a Slim Jim. That's all I can think of is like the
There you go.
Slim Jim commercial. But no, I'm sorry. I think uh Macho Man Randy Savage, he's a little before my time.
It's a bit before your time,
Um,
yeah.
just a tad bit, just a little bit. I was born in '87, so I remember him very very briefly. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the only thing I could think of is
Yeah, he would have been in
Slim
his
Jim
prime
commercials.
around that time when you were only born and stuff. But his memory lives on. He's just one of these guys, and there's always so much about him.
Yeah,
There's so many memes online, and everything is just
yeah,
fantastic.
he was him and Miss Elizabeth, and so many of these wrestlers that has you know passed on. Um,
Yeah,
uh, um, gosh, Roddy Piper and Alpha and Sika this year.
yeah.
Psycho Sid.
Psycho
I
Sid we
mean,
lost. Yeah,
it's wow. It just it makes you think like they were the beacon of wrestling.
definitely.
Like they've seen so much, and I hope that the wrestlers of our generation and even younger who had the opportunity to spend time with them, I hope that they have really taken in their advice and their stories and
Yeah,
just their essence, because they're all leaving us one by one, and at this point now we have people like The Rock and Triple H, which is now
hmm
seen as elders, like they are
yeah.
the
Shawn
ones
Michaels is
that,
running NXT as well. So
yes, yeah, and I think it was so good seeing Arn Anderson with Cody
hmm
and um,
so good to see Bret Hart on Raw the other night as well.
yes, he looked good.
Yeah,
He did. He looked real good, and even oh, every once in a while you see Ricky Steamboat on AEW. You'll see Jake the Snake.
yeah.
Still got Rick. Rick is gonna.
He lived
You
forever, Ric
cannot put
Flair.
Rick down. Rick is going to wrestle into his last days. Um, and even Jesse Ventura. It was good seeing him too on Raw.
Definitely.
I think
I actually thought
sometime
with
last
the
year.
the return of Saturday night's main event. There's
Yes,
maybe Jesse Ventura could do something with that, as he was the original commentator years ago.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I feel like now that WWE is seemingly signing a lot of these legend contracts, like with Victoria and Miss Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's probably their goal, is to bring some of these, um, as we will call them, old heads or legends, um, into the atmosphere. Because like I said, they're they're passing on. And I just hope, like, even with Triple H, I hope that people are really taking in their time with him, because
Hmm.
we could have lost him too.
That's right. Yeah, that's correct.
You know, so yeah.
Oh, well,
Uh,
we'll cherish them while they're still around. That's for sure.
yes, absolutely. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. Because we were just looking at the really huge family tree of the bloodline just weeks before WrestleMania.
That's
So
it.
that big old tree, and Roman and The Rock just defending their family's honor. Had no idea we was going to lose Alpha and Sika just months later.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it was very unexpected. So yeah, you have to
And Roman
not even.
himself, as he was
Yeah.
sick in the past.
Yes.
So
Yes. And we can only hope that he is healthy and well, um and just hope that that, like you said, just don't take nothing for granted. Because I just thought about Alba Fire,
hmm
losing her mom and stuff in
that's right.
such a tragic way. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No. Look, Megan, I could talk to you for
Yeah.
hours, and I've taken up enough of your time now, and I just want to thank you so much for joining me
Thank
today
you.
and giving me some of your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. Um,
Thank you.
and if people want to find you online and follow what you're doing, where can they go?
They can find me on Instagram, Megan Ambers, or they can find me on Twitter. I am Megan Ambers. As of right now, because they just love me on that podcast so much. Every Sunday, I am co-hosting Sunday Night Spotlight. We have a very special interview this week, so I'm
Okay,
hoping people tune in. Um, really excited about this one, and also you could catch me on the Daily on Friday and Saturday, 3
brilliant.
p.m. on the Wrestling Republic's YouTube channel.
Fantastic.
Yes,
That's great. Well, thank you once again. And thanks to everybody for tuning in as well. And make sure to give Megan a follow on all the social medias and platforms, and keep up to speed on all her fantastic content as always. And you can find me, of course, on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And I'll be back again soon with some more wrestling content. And until next time, take care and keep grappling with greatness.